Get What You're Given was probably the easiest song that came together for the entire record. It was put together in an afternoon, really. I think that sequence of riffs in the song were just they just flowed so easily. So it wasn't structure-wise, it was just such a simple song to put together. Very sort of straightforward structure. In terms of the lyrics, it's probably a darker kind of theme to what King Parrot's used to. And we've experienced some significant loss within our camp over the last few years. And, I guess the lyrical content of that track in particular is a little darker, and it leaned into more kind of power violence style vocals from that's what I could hear when I heard the riffs. So I was like, I really wanted to sort of when I was putting the vocals together, I kind of listened into some more of that sort of style of stuff and wanted to be influenced by that, because that's what those riffs kind of felt like to me. So I kind of leaned into that a little bit more. So it's a bit more low end vocally on it, but then we did some gang vocals and things like that in that song as well. And I'm we were super happy with that, how easily that one came together. Sometimes the best songs just come together real quick, right? And it's just that, I think for us that was like, yep, that's going to be the album opener. It was a no-brainer for us. It's just abrasive, heavy, and insane. I think it works as the album opener for us for sure.
It just reminds me of Jed Simon from Strapping Young Lads saying that they wrote "Oh My Fucking God" in 5 minutes.
yeah, right. Yeah, sometimes it just comes together that easy. We worked on this one for quite some time, I believe, over a period of years. We picked it up, put it down, picked it up, put it down, and I must have written a whole bunch of different lyrics for it over the years. But when we kind of started to come together to write sort of towards the end of 2023, 2024, early 2024, we put this one together in the form that you hear it in now. And lyrically, there's a whole bunch of different stuff that's in there. Structurally, I think I don't know. It's a sort of weird song, but there's some weird elements in there, but it all kind of works. I love the groove of it. I love that sort of half-time tempo feel that it has. And it was definitely one that took a little longer to put together. It really stood out to us when we had all the tracks lined up. It stood out to us as probably, the catchiest, if not. It gives it it's got some hooks in it. It's got some catchy stuff in it. Obviously, the title is what it is. It's an old saying. It's as old as the horses, as old as the hills, whatever. But it was so much fun to put together that one. It's got every element of what King Parrot is in that song, and it's so much fun to play live. I think you might have seen it when we played it at Knotfest, and no one knew the song, and we played it in Melbourne and Sydney and Brisbane, and people were singing the lyrics back to us as soon as we played it the very first time. So we knew we were onto something with that song. This one's an old one too. We've had this one since. This is one Slats wrote the music for, and I wrote lyrics for it years ago. Pretty much straight after kind of Ugly Produce came out. We've had it that long, and I've got a demo for it somewhere on my computer. And I think we rejigged it. We rejigged the structure, and Squiz definitely sort of finessed the riffs a little bit with that song. There's the demo version that I have of it that Slats sent me, and then I put vocals on initially, was much more rough around the edges. I think it had some wacky drum machine shit going on that Slats probably did on GarageBand or something. But the final version that you hear on the album has definitely been finessed and finagled with Squiz's guitar intricacies and things like that. And I definitely rejigged the vocals and some of the patterns and some of the words for sure. But that's an older one. That's one that we had from, pretty much as soon as we finished doing the Ugly Produce touring. That was one that had been around that long.
It's crazy because, I remember the last time we spoke about this, I remember asking you if the lyrics were inspired by that Luigi, the bloke who killed the healthcare CEO, because there's 3 words that you repeat in there that sound like the 3 words that he wrote on the shell casings.
Yeah. No,
interesting. Yeah.
Not at all.
There you go.
What a channel it. It's right. Well, I guess this one and maybe a couple others kind of, I guess it sort of relates to the struggles that, we face in, the way that society's kind of going at the moment. And just the sort of daily life struggles, I guess. That's where I was coming at with the lyrics. Seems like everything, it's like clamps are on, the clamps are on all the time, and I just wanted to kind of write a kind of rebellion song about that sort of stuff. And that fast pace, it's sort of like it kind of got a skate punk, skate thrash kind of start. I think Slats maybe wrote some of that stuff, and then Ari came in and changed some of the chorusy bit, and then we had the breakdown at the end, and we were struggling kind of to put the whole thing together for a while there. It took quite a little bit of work to put it all together. And I remember in the studio when we were kind of getting from the end of the song into that breakdown riff at the end there, and I had this idea to do a spoken word part, and I was thinking about a Poison Idea song called The Badge, and we did the spoken word part. There's a little spoken word part that is actually lyrics from the Poison Idea song, The Badge, and that was the idea that I had, but I didn't want to do it without asking permission. So I sent a message to Jerry from Poison Idea and said, hey man, we're thinking about doing a spoken word part in this bit of the song, and we want to use the Poison Idea lyrics. And he just happened to be online at the time and wrote back immediately. He goes, yeah man, go for it, just send me a copy of the record. So I thought of the idea. I asked Jerry permission, and within like 5 minutes, he wrote back and said, do it. So we just went with it. It was like, it must have been a meant to be kind of moment. But it was kind of strange. I didn't even expect him to write back at all, but he wrote back straight away. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, this one took a lot of finessing as well. To me, it feels like it's got elements of, and definitely tipping the hat to sort of old school, like Damaged, stuff like that, especially in that first section. That was kind of what I had in mind vocally, because that's what the riffs were kind of doing for me. But then it kind of goes into this sort of Motorhead kind of part in the middle of the song, which is a little bit different for us as well. And then it kind of has this groovy riff at the end as well. So there's kind of lots of different aspects of what King Parrot does in that song too. But it was definitely heaps of fun putting that one together vocally. And I had in that sort of middle section there with the Motorhead kind of vibes, that sort of speed punk thrash part or whatever it is. I had this idea for this sort of vocal guitar call and response type thing. So Chris and I really sat down with that and, did the and we had all these ideas, and the ideas that I had, Squeeze kind of translated it into what he would feel comfortable playing. And, and that's the great thing about collaborating, I guess, is, Ari wrote that riff, and then I could hear this vocal guitar thing, and then I had to do it with Squiz, and then Squiz changed the idea that I had to what he felt comfortable with, and I think the end result was really cool, and it's a nice conglomeration of ideas that kind of worked really well, and I really enjoy that song too.
It was nice. I was texting with Squiz, and he was a bit nervous as to how I would, it would be received. That kind of guitar solo-y thing, because it's very new for you guys. I'm like, dude, it is amazing. It just gives it. It was so unexpected, but it works with you guys, and
right.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw in the review, because I don't know if you would have taken this as the lighthearted reference it was intended, but I genuinely can hear a bit of Daffy Duck in your vocals. There is just because obviously you have gone, you've dropped it, I think, a little lower than you have in the past. It was not the dead end, that kind of high rapid, it was the low rapid, and in the back of it, there's just a kind of wetness to it, between some of the syllables, and it reminded me of Daffy Duck, and I'm like, that is fucking amazing. You just sound so hard.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, well, I haven't heard that one before, but I think there's definitely some different stuff going on with the vocals for sure. I mean, the whole thing was a massive process, and lots of pre-production stuff, and I just sort of wanting to feel confident in being in the studio when I went to lay down the final thing. I wanted to know exactly what was going on and exactly what I was going to do. So there's like lots of notes, and all right, we're going to double this part, and we're going to do it like this for this part, and so every song had that kind of attention to detail. And I think the same went for the guitar, like I really wanted to try and push Squiz into feeling more confident to be able to do some more leady stuff. And so we went there, and we supported each other to, explore the vocals a lot more, and for him to explore what he can do with the guitar a lot more, to give it a bit more color and a bit more range. And I think I've said this before, but I think we're one of those bands that we've kind of got our sound. People know what we sound like because of the riffs and the song style and the vocals. We've kind of got our sound, but we can expand so much within that realm. We have aspects of rock and roll, punk rock, hardcore punk, death metal, thrash metal. Like there's parts in there that sound like Cannibal Corpse probably, but then there's stuff that sounds like Motorhead. So we've got this broad canvas on which we can work in because we have our sound, which is a real blessing from my perspective.
And it's nice being able to, it's nice to be able to, you literally put on like 3 seconds of a band and be like, that's Gojira, because it's just they sound utterly unlike anyone else.
For sure. Yeah, they're one of those bands, absolutely. Yeah, this was another one that was kind of everyone kind of chucking in different riffs, different things, and I always liked that chorusy riff that felt like a Carcass riff to me or something like that. And that came up early, and I really enjoyed that riff, and then the way that the whole song came together was great. And then just another stab at what's going on in the world today, and the things that have gone on over the last however many years that have kind of shaped the way society is at the moment, and just pushing back. I don't think we ever set out to be kind of a political band, and I don't think we are. But I mean, I don't know. I just felt like the right thing to kind of push back and write this sort of stuff. So, yeah.
I see a lot of similarities in songwriting, in lyricism between you and Phil Anselmo, in that, like, in a lot of early, for example, Far Beyond Driven, stuff like that, you have some savage, lyricism, becoming is was it becoming all that reaching through your TV screen and drawing back a stump and all like it's harsh stuff that is pointed and it's clearly pointing at something socially, but it's never explicitly. You're not Rage Against the Machine. Neither of you.
No.
Yeah. So it's weird. I don't know. Yeah, if you think this is a fair comparison at all, but yeah, the first lyricist I would compare you to would be Phil. So there you go.
Well, it's quite a bit to say. Right? I mean, he's obviously, one of the greats. So that's really cool of you. Thank you. But I mean, I guess there's a thing that there's a part of it that you want to leave open-ended for interpretation. That's always something that I'm conscious of and like to give the listener something, like it's yours, like once I've written it, it's done, and then when you release it and hand it over, it becomes whatever it needs to become for whoever else is listening to it. And it can be an open-ended thing. And I think that's the beauty of music sometimes, is that the listener can interpret it and it becomes whatever it needs to become for them. And that's always my intention, is just to write it and leave a little bit of mystery shrouding what it can be about. And also, like, much like I always like to sort of reference Neil Fallon from Clutch, because he's a big influence on me, just the way that he writes the songs and puts them together. And it doesn't have to be about one certain thing in each song. There can be different topics in each song, and it just becomes whatever it is. And you listen to some Clutch songs and it's like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But I think that's the beauty of it, like some of his lyrics are just incredible. You can tell he's a very well-read, well-articulated man. And, like, I mean, all these Clutch lyrics are starting to come into my head now, but he's definitely a huge influence on me for sure.
Nice. Well, anyone, by the way, who is watching this and is about to go in the comments and make fun of me, yes, I'm aware that the Pantera quote that I quoted before was from Strength Beyond Strength and Not Becoming, so shut up. Hey, when it comes to stuffing up lyrics, Youngie, I got the right.
I Got the Right was another one that we had. Definitely that chorus part. That was something that was an old demo. The rest of that song had many different forms until we kind of got it to that form that it's in now on the album. We chopped and changed that one a lot, and it was a completely different song when we initially wrote it. But I always liked the chorus, and that also changed as well. And the whole, it's more of a rock and roll song to me. Like it's a King Parrot rock and roll song from my perspective. And I want to say there's like elements of like Turbo Negro kind of stuff in there. Like that's what I was thinking when I heard it. Obviously, there's heavier elements than what they would ever do, but. Structure-wise, I was thinking of a Turbo Negro song when we were putting it together, and we wanted, and Squizzy definitely really leaned into the guitar stuff on this track as well. I like the vocal hook in the chorus, and that was why we kind of persisted with it, because I felt like that was something. There was something in that part in the chorus, it was. I like it. It's another one of those songs that we sort of did something quite different to what we'd ever done before, and it's a cool song. I like. I'm glad we went there. That's a Squizzy one. That's definitely a Squizzy one. Yeah. Squizzy wrote that whole song. The entire structure of that song was his, and we worked together on the vocals, on the content, like the theme of the song. I guess he came up with the title of "Look Away, I'm Hideous." Actually, I think it's a Seinfeld quote.
yeah, sounds about right.
I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. Someone said that, and I was like, okay, yeah. And it's just really spasmodic riffing that's very Squiz. You know, if you know his style, and you know, obviously I probably know it better than most, but if you know the way that he goes about it and the kind of riffs that he writes, you know, it's definitely his sort of signature kind of style. And you know, just a commentary on the ridiculousness of facial modification stuff, things like that go on in society today, and you know, just the normalization of it, I guess. And you know, I guess the message behind the song is that you're enough. You don't need to do that shit. It's you know, whatever. Like, come on. But that's the message, I guess, behind it. So yeah.
You say that after this interview. You know what I'm doing? I'm going up and shaving my head because I don't like the fact that I look like this. My hairline. I haven't lost it from the top, but it's just receded up here, and I just can't do it. I'm so insecure. Yeah, it's weird. But
you can get it like people get tattooed, like a little tattoo, like you just get it.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah, I've no doubt. I'll just get a grindfall logo on there. Fuck it. You're a trendsetter.
Why not? Just get your head covered in tattoos.
Oh, mate. At the risk of torpedoing it or just going in the dark territory for a bit, because this is something that you and I have not spoken about this since it happened, but this is the first King Parrot record that you have gone on since Boyd passed, and I wonder what was it like, you know, tackling the visuals, you know, and thinking about album art, you know, just doing all of those things that you used to do with Boyd. What was it like approaching it with a different person?
Well, the thing is that with that, you know, before Boyd passed away, Boyd gave us the artwork for the album. That's his idea. Like that album artwork is Boyd's idea. He did that, you know, maybe like in 2022 or something, and we were. Oh, he was like, this should be the new King Parrot album art, and I was like, really? And I thought he was joking, but he was serious. He's like, no, this should be it. This should be it. And then I guess when we were putting the whole thing together, we had a few different ideas. Like we were toying with the title of Get What You're Given as the album title, which I thought was cool as well. But when it came to the artwork and stuff like that, we had Gleno do some stuff, and we ended up using that as a merch idea, but that was kind of going to be potentially the album cover. But we just felt like we wanted to honor Boyd and honor his idea, and that he always has good ideas and always had good contributions, and was almost like, you know, he could help steer us in the direction that we needed it to go, because he wasn't like in the band, but he was so close to the band. It was, you know, sometimes it's just nice to have that influence that's just a little bit different, that's thinking a little bit different outside of the square to what the band members might think. And you know, it's been really tough trying to, I guess from my perspective, you know, I've tried to embody what he would have thought, so that I can have that skeptical view on what we do now, because he's not there, you know. So for me, it's been, you know, like, it's been a matter of actually just trying to step back a little bit, learn how to step back, learn how to look at things a bit more objectively, from a different perspective, perhaps, how it might be received, and not, and it's trying to be our best authentic version of what we do. And that's been a bit of a learning process, but it's also been a huge benefit, you know, a huge benefit. And, you know, I guess sometimes life just throws you all sorts of crazy shit. And that was one crazy thing that happened at none of us were expecting, and it was, you know, there's been a sort of long period of grieving, and yeah, it's I can't explain it, man. It's just been a huge change in like my life. I mean, Boyd was my best friend, so losing a best friend is kind of, you know, it's a very strange experience, and it just takes some time to process it and work through that. And yeah, creatively, it's been a challenge, but I feel like he's still around. I feel like he's still with us. I feel like he's spirit somewhere around and influencing and looking over, and we've got this new drive and this new enthusiasm for what we do as a result of everything that's happened. So we've got a bigger reason now to keep pushing forward and to keep doing it, and making him proud and keeping him in our thoughts as we move forward. And it feels really good to have that. Yeah. So this was another one that took a bit of time to put together. Many different versions of the song appeared over the years, and it was the last one that came together actually for the album. And usually I like to have a little bit more time with the songs so that I can try out different ideas and try different things, do different demos, and, you know, I might do 3 or 4 different versions of a song and then pick out the best parts, and that'll be the final version, you know. With this song, it was a lot of trial and error because it was the last structure that came together. And when we were in the studio, there's a really chaotic part toward the end of the song where I've just gone absolutely ballistic all over it. And I was just struggling to come up with anything, and I had all these different versions and different things, and I think I just went for it. I said to our engineer, man, I said, look, I've got this idea. I'm probably never going to be able to do this live. We probably won't play this song live, but I'm just going to go ballistic and see what happens. And so it's just this rapid fire shit, you know, at the end. And it's probably one of the most intense vocal parts that's ever been on a King Parrot record, but it's, I think it works. I think it sounds cool. And, you know, I think lyrically the themes kind of revolve around addiction, alcoholism, and homelessness and stuff like that. There's a few different themes in the song for me, and yeah, it's one that's it's kind of personal. It's about things that have happened in my life and to people that I care about, and yeah, it's just I mean, you can only sort of sing about what you know about, right? And that's stuff I know about. I love the riffs in this song, though. I think, and I know Ari is super proud of this one. Just that, it's a real stomper, and but it's unique, and it sounds it's different, and the way that Ari has this real knack of being able to get in and out of riffs that may not usually fit together. He has this way of making it kind of work, and when we're in the jam room and I'm watching him work through the riffs, and he just goes over and over and over and over, and it's like, and that gives me the opportunity to develop an idea, a vocal idea, when I'm just watching him. Work out how he's going to get from that part to the next part, and it's a real organic process for us. And that song is a prime example of the time that we put into writing the songs. You know, we just felt like that was a great way to end the album. You know,
and it's just the way it fades out there. It's just, yeah, it's fucking gnarly.
Yeah, right. And I just feel like it's the way that it kind of fades out when I was listening to it when we finished it, and I was like, this is cool because it kind of makes you feel like you just want to go back to the start. And I love those albums that make you feel like you just want to listen to it again. And I thought that was a cheeky kind of way just to fade it out. And it's like, if I just go back to the start and push play again, you know, it'll rip my head off again.
Well, I'm pretty sure that was how you were legally required to end an album in the 70s, was the fade out. Right. I don't think they knew how to end anything. They were like, if we just turn it down, it'll be fine.
So many great albums and songs in the 80s just have the fade out. We love it. I mean, we've done it a few times now. You know? And I mean, we're 80s kids, so what can we say, you know?